This is breaking news. DEI failed and America prevailed once again. We have something to celebrate. We have something to rejoice. I'm not saying we have something to celebrate because a Democrat didn't win. That's not the case. I don't mind if sometimes a Democrat gets in power because their results are going to speak for themselves. I'm worried about something bigger. It's the degradation of the American project. There are people who are like Jasmine Crockett, who are toxic, who hate this country but refuse to leave. They run on nothing, but they win politics because they have extremely hateful and racist comments to say about white people in general, but specifically people like our president, our commander-in-chief. So we're going to take a second now to celebrate. The witch, her political career is dead.
Let the joyous news be spread, the wicked old witch at last is dead.
So that's us, the American people, the voters of Texas, and the witch is this lady right fucking here.
Oh, you just voted to do it first. So you order.
Get clarification.
Look it, calm down. Calm down.
No, because this is what I don't do.
Proceeding.
So I'm trying
Hey,
to
Miss
get
Crockett, you're not recognized. Miss
I can't hear
Crockett.
you with your
And you
yelling.
don't want-
Calm down.
No,
Can you please calm
don't
down.
tell me to calm down.
Calm down.
Because
That ghetto trash piece of shit was actually a representative here in our great United States of America. There are certain people and there are certain realities that as Americans we're going to have to take into account going forward. We cannot accept everyone as an American, even if they are born here, even if they have citizenship, even if they speak English. It doesn't mean they are Americans. Do you believe, okay, I'll give you an example. Do you believe in terrorists? Okay. Do you believe that terrorists can also live in the United States? Okay. Could you understand that a terrorist being born here and living here might not have the best intentions for this country, even if they're born here? Okay, so you can accept that. Accept that about certain people also. You just don't understand them. They are not Americans. They are African Americans. They are Afro Americans. There is no such country as Africa America. There's no such country as Afro America. They live in a different world. They live in a different universe, and they have a completely different agenda than you and I. They are here and they inject themselves in our politics now because the goal is to dissolve and destroy the American project that our families and our ancestors have invested so much in. They have this strange sense of desire for a revenge for a slavery that they never went through, for events of the past that they can't even verify happened. They want to burn this place down, and they hate any and everybody white. Now, this is a majority white country. Why are you here? If you hate white people, if you hate Trump, this whole anti-white movement must be purged, not just from our politics, but from our country and our culture. When we say we have to take our country back, we're taking it back from black culture. We're taking it back from black people. We're also taking it back from the gay community. Who do you think is pushing feminism? Who do you think is pushing the trans agenda? Who do you think is trying their hardest to convince your son that he's gay, or that your daughter that she's autistic or that she's gay. Who do you think is behind those movements and why? It's because they understood. And this is what makes white families and white Americans the envy of these others that are here that are not Americans. It's the family. They see a father, a mother, and they see children, and it generates animosity and hate because in their culture, families are not a thing. Families are discouraged. Family is what they would say the hallmarks of white supremacy. They believe in abortion. They don't believe in marriage. A lot of their relationships are insufferable. The children have no parents. So that's why when you look on the news and you look around, you see 13% of the population, 60, 70% of all the violent crimes in the country. Completely antithetical to the movement. When you look around and you see who's at these protests that are saying all these hateful things that want to dissolve the country, it's blacks and gays. People like myself who are from immigrant families, we make the choice to come to the United States. We could have chose to go somewhere else. We came here because we believe in the American project. We believe in the mission. We believe in the culture. We believe in the system. So we play by the rules. These other people that are not Americans but live here, they do everything the exact opposite. She is a perfect example of what is wrong with this country. And what happened to her is what must be done to them all. I'll give you an example. Show me a black city that has a black mayor, black governor, black superintendent. Show me a city that has any black people in politics that's even remotely doing okay. I'll wait. Go to these cities that are run by blacks. Because remember, they're not Americans. They're African American. It's a different country. They live in a different parallel universe, different goals, different movement. You think that they're Americans like you, and you are absolutely wrong. You don't know them. They hate you. And every day since they're children, they're groomed to take any and every opportunity they can to try to kill you or your white children. Now, those of us who live amongst them, if you have these conversations and scratch the surface, they'll openly admit it. It's allowed. You can call for violence and death against white people on social media, on Facebook. It'll be amplified. She does it. This is what these people do. You can't go to their cities, and every time you go anywhere that they are controlled, it's nothing but crime, death, murder, degradations. Our best cities in the United States that we have lost, that we're fighting to take back, all controlled and managed by her demographic. Texas, Americans in Texas, we rejected that bullshit. People like to say that the United States is not a country, it's a corporation. That's fine. Look at it that way. And if the United States is a corporation, then Texas is a business and a company. Everyone knows out of 100% of the pie when it comes to hiring employees to work at a business, 20% is the work you're doing. 80% is, do you fit into the culture of the company? Do you get along with your fellow coworkers? Are you pleasant to be around? Are you always negative? Are you always talking down on the company? Do you show up on time? Are you late? Are we going to catch you stealing, stationery? Or do you fit into the culture of the company? She does not. The answer is no, because she is not an American. And Texas is one of the last bastions of freedom in our republic. You have Texas, Florida, South Dakota. I'll be honest, Tennessee. We don't really have many American strongholds left. We don't. Texas is one of those ones that they've been trying their hardest to flip, to turn every which way but Sunday, and it's not going to work. We are going to maintain our sovereignty and our freedom. We're going to choose our own destiny. She was rejected. There's all these different excuses and reasons, but we all know why. For one thing, she should have never been in politics in the first place. She was only in politics because of something that should have been illegal, which is called gerrymandering. The way it works is like this. Instead of basing the voter maps off of politics illegally for a long time. They have been based off of race, which is illegal after the 1964 Civil Rights Act. See, the things that'll make you laugh and make you cry. Maybe you should. Maybe they'll get behind repealing that now, which it should be repealed, because I don't believe in forced integration. People should have the right to not want to deal with certain people based on behavioral patterns if they decide to. That should be our right. We should not have to walk on eggshells because we're worried about the government suing us because we're noticing a pattern of behavior and we want to avoid it. But we'll talk about that another time. They drew out voter maps based off of black populations. So if you look at a city, they would look and see where blacks are concentrated. They would just draw a line around that, and boom, you have a district. A district within a population, within a conservative population, you'll have a district where it's basically a communist utopia. Section 8 housing, welfare, government assistance. Is basically a cutout of the Hunger Games society, but the people around it who are Americans who work, we have to fund it. So we're subsidizing the lifestyle of these people who don't want to work, who hate everything about us in our American culture. So that's how they would come up with these districts. That's how she won. They cut out an all black section, and obviously all the blacks are going to vote for her because she is a black. Not because of her policies, her beliefs, her results, her experience, but because of how she looks. These people are so fucking low IQ, they will vote for someone for the same reason they would vote for a fucking stripper. The same characteristics, you would walk into Magic City and decide who you want to come sit on your lap. That's the same metric they would use when deciding who is going to come up with their policies, represent their districts and their people. It's all based on shallow BS. What do you look like? What is your race? What is your gender? Oh, she's cute. The same way, it's all just the same way you would pick a stripper on your birthday. Complete, total bullshit. So I did stories about this months ago. I said she wasn't going to survive this because there's no way. She built her entire career off of two things. And only two things. And we can go over that to fact check me if you can. She built her entire career off of insulting Trump because she has a extensive TDS syndrome going on. It's insane. So she made a career off of insulting Trump, but also making backhanded insults against specifically white Americans. You saw it with her outbursts against MTG. We're just playing it right here. She was also a fake person. See, she speaks typical, regular American English most of the time. I'll give you an example.
None of this should have happened. Let's talk about the many failures. Let's talk about what was intentional. Number one, the Republicans only did this to intentionally disenfranchise and confuse voters.
So you know what we call that? You know what she used to call that? She used to call that being an election denier. Oh, how the tables have turned. Oh, how things have shifted. So I guess she used to call Trump an election denier. And now here she is denying an election. But see, if you look at the cadence of her accent and then you compare it to.
First, so you
Order.
I'm
trying to get clarification.
Look at, calm down. Calm
No,
down.
because this is what y'all do.
Proceeding.
So I'm trying to
Hey,
get
Miss
clarification.
Crockett, you're not recognized. Miss
I can't hear
Crockett.
you with your
If you
yelling.
don't want-
Calm down.
No.
Please calm
Don't
down.
tell me to calm down,
Calm down.
because y'all talk
Calm
noise,
down.
and then you
You're
can't
out of
take it.
control.
'Cause if I
Look,
come,
Chairman,
if I
can
come
we
and
send
talk
outside to
shit
take a
about
break
her,
for 5
y'all
minutes?
gonna have a
Zero self-respect, zero respect for others, zero respect for the position, zero decorum. And this woman was elevated by her non-Americans who live in this country in their communist pockets, and they elevated her to be in our politics. We don't want them anymore. Now, what she can do is she can go run for office in Africa. She can choose Nigeria, maybe Ghana, Kenya. She can choose to run for an all-black population, and she will not be able to complain about racism, being disenfranchised. You won't be able to complain about white supremacy. You won't have to cry about Trump. You won't have to cry about oppression. You won't have to bring up Jim Crow. And you would accurately be able to talk directly to them about slavery, since allegedly, well, they're the ones who captured you, put you in cages, and fucking sold you. How are you going to get reparations from people that bought you? The source are the people that sold you. It doesn't make any sense. You were for sale. You want to go back to the source. If we're going to be based off of, we're going to do a logical consistency, that would make sense. So she'd already be there in the direct face of her oppressors, and she would apply for politics then. We in America, us Americans, we no longer want Marxists in American politics. We don't want communists in American politics. We're wasting so much time fighting upstream against Marxism and communism that we are literally wasting time and not being able to focus on the matters that matter, the things that matter to Americans the most, which is advancing our society. Getting caught up with these non-Americans who have citizenship, getting caught up in their identity bullshit and all their low IQ grievances about nothing. It's literally just a distraction from the things that are most important. She was a distraction. And today, last night, we literally rejected her. Full stop. And I'm extremely grateful. I have a couple of more I have a little bit more footage of her denying the election.
How y'all feeling?
Like I said, I'm not saying she's not a cute woman. She has an amazing future at Magic City. She's put 6 months, instead of complaining about Trump and white people for 6 months, if you just focus on learning pole tricks, then you have a career. And then she can go work in the hood. There's no white people around. And she can sit there and she can say all the racist, nasty, ignorant bullshit about whites and Trump that she wants, and it won't affect anyone else. They're not going to amplify. My issue is the media amplifies her. So I have to turn on my fucking phone or my TV and I have to listen to her racist, ridiculous bullshit. And that's the part that really upsets me. They give her a mic, they platform her. And when you listen to what she's saying, she stood on nothing. I asked people that were telling me, yeah, I'm going to vote for her. They were all also non-Americans, but they're blacks. And they will say, yeah, I'm support Jasmine Crockett. I'm like, really? I'm like, okay, you know, she's been in politics for a little while now. You know, for a while, she has a little bit of, what has she ever done for you or her community? Okay, how about this? What are her? Give me 2 policies of hers you like. Then I said, look, let me lower the threshold. Give me 1 fucking policy of her that you like. When that fell on deaf ears, I say, listen, tell me something she's accomplished or done in the past 4 years that makes you want to waste your vote on her specifically. And the only thing they could tell me was, well, she woke up black. Yeah, she's black, and she hates Trump, and she hates white people, and I hate white people because of the movie Roots, the miniseries. Because of Alex Haley, I hate Roots. And buck breaking, because of Rashid Tlaib, I believe that white slave masters have sex with black men, and they do a lot of bondage, and they tie them up, they put gags in their mouth, and they hump them. And they rub mustaches, and that's why all the blacks are gated. I'm like, what the fuck are we talking about here? That's what this is about? That's why you're voting? Nothing to do with policy? Nothing even to do with politics. Just based off of superficial appearances and your homoerotic fantasies? That's it. You don't know this because you don't talk to them. I talk to everybody. I have these conversations. You don't. So you're in the dark. So that's why I have to sit here and I have to talk to you. And that's why she lost. But also, this is why we celebrate. Ding dong, the witch's political career is dead. I'm so grateful that they went to the courts and they legally adjusted the voter district lines based off of politics and not based off of race. That's such a obvious adjustment that should have been made long ago. But see, you create your own worst enemies when you allow certain things to go unchecked because you're worried about backlash from people who are trying to scam the system, who are going to take issue with them, that are going to take issue with you when you're blocking their scam. The woman ran on nothing. She served up Trump TDS. She reminds me of, there's a man that you might not know of. His name is Dr. Umar, right? He has been scamming the black community, these non-blacks that hate America, but they live here, but they're not Americans, but they live here. He's been scamming them specifically for like 10 plus years, maybe 20 years. I don't know. He was saying he was going to build a school. Black people didn't care that all the money he scammed from them, he never built a school. They don't care that he stole their money. The only thing they cared about was that every time he got on the internet, he would make disparaging remarks about white women, calling them bunnies, and anybody who dates white women, calling them names, and just making extremely racist remarks about white people. Black people paid him and donated money to him for years for nothing. They wanted nothing in return except for him to insult white Americans on their behalf, because they were too chicken shit to say it themselves, so they'll pay someone else to do it. The same way they donated all that money to Carmelo Anthony when he killed Austin Metcalf. They rewarded him and they have these fantasies every day when they go to sleep. They raise their children to have these delusional fantasies, these fever dreams about one day being able to kill and hurt white Americans. That's their fantasy. That's all they live for. That's their eventual ultimate goal by staying here. That's the reason why they won't repatriate themselves to another part of the world where they can have freedom and escape oppression. If America's racist, why don't you go to the airport and escape racism? Like, I guess living around racism is a choice. Slavery is a choice because you're choosing to be here. They're staying here because they're waiting for one day to get a battle cry that tells them to go out and harm white people and then they can get away with it. That's all it is. You don't know this because you don't speak to them. I do. And I'm shocked. I thought everybody knew this. Turns out a lot of people are in the dark about their intentions. So that's why I have to speak about it. In my opinion, there shouldn't be anybody who's not American in American politics. Because while you're trying to help the country, they're only in politics to find roundabout ways to pull it apart and destroy it. The witch is out of politics now. Hopefully she can go run in Africa, and then hopefully the blacks in Africa won't reject her, because if they do, then she won't be able to blame racism for disenfranchisement. But that's where Marxism and communism belong, in Africa. They have no place in American politics. Leave America to the Americans. Leave American politics to Americans. The non-Americans do not belong here, and we're not going to celebrate them anymore. I told you months ago, if you watch my videos, that she was going to get kicked out of politics. It happened. It's done. We have something to celebrate. Yeah, there's a Democrat still running. Who cares? He was not going to do nowhere near as much damage as her. At least he has policies that he was running on. At least he had plans. At least he has a foundation. She had nothing. She just grifted and enriched herself by insulting white Americans and expunging upon her Trump derangement syndrome. Thank God she's out of politics. Yep. Jasmine Crockett, what happened? Well, she lost yesterday, and she's an election denier. So not only is she a loser, but she's a sore loser. So yeah, and that's the thing. You're right. We don't want anyone like her in politics. We want America for Americans. She was everyone else first. She's illegals first. She's pedophiles first. She's rapists first. She's murderers first. Then She cares about the American people way down the line. She fought for policies to release criminals for a multitude of crimes back onto the streets. Because like these black activist judges, she's hoping when they reoffend against someone who's white, someone who's conservative, someone who is one of their political enemies. And they've been getting their way. I don't know if you guys have been noticing, but I've been sharing the terrorist attacks against white people done by blacks, done by her demographic, has been on an uptick for the past 2 years. And they're always swept under the rug. We just had a terrorist attack in Austin that's already getting media silence. This happened on Saturday night. What is it? Fucking Tuesday. And you're not even seeing the black man's face anymore splattered on your TVs. You barely saw a bleep of him the other day. He committed a race-based terrorist attack in Austin, Texas. But it's not just him. There's black men killing white women on buses, trains, parking lots. It's happening all over the country. They're sweeping it under the rug. These people are radicalized when they hear the voices amplified in their subconscious by the things that women like Jasmine Crockett are saying, Michelle Obama are saying. All these nasty ass black politicians can make these egregious statements about whites and get away with it. And these others, these blacks that are they're already low IQ, they're already autistic. They think that that's them being called to action. And they go out and they harm someone white. They don't go after white men because they are scared to death of white men. But they go after a soft white target. They target the women. They target the children. Why do you think these people that hate whites are always getting jobs in schools? The worst thing you could do to a man is turn his son gay. Why do you think they're in these schools trying to pervert these kids? Push the LGTB on them. They're trying to turn your kids against you. They want to destroy your family because they envy your family. They hate Americans. They hate American families. They don't want a father in the home. They don't want a family unit. They want it destroyed. And they say, if you have one, you're a white supremacist. Well, then if you're going to call us supreme for having family values, then we will be white supremacists. Yeah, in fact, thank you. I'm glad there are people who are listening to this who understand where we are. There are some people that are going to listen to what I'm saying and they're not up to date. They watch other content creators. They listen to other influencers who are not going to tell them the truth because this is what they call unpopular speech. Now, if I got on this mic and I said, hey, all black people are slaves. I'm just like you. I have a 905 SAT score. I can't read for shit. I'm half black and I'm half retard. If I got on here and played into victimhood, played into the stereotypes of themselves, I would be one of the top content creators on fucking YouTube. They would amplify me and push me to the front. They'd offer me brand deals, all because I say white people are evil, black people are oppressed, black people can't read, black people are dumb because white people make them dumb. Basically removing all responsibility, all accountability from individual adults and push it to the side and say, there's another group who owns you and they're the reason why you live in squalor, you're a bum, and you're a piece of shit. If I got on here and blamed other people and removed accountability, I'd be the top creator on YouTube. You think I got a few sponsors now? You think I'm getting a lot of views? Wait until I start playing into victimhood. And they try to make me the fucking president. I just can't do it. I'm not a grifter. There's no amount of money that can make me get on here and lie. There's no amount of money where I can just get on here and make up stuff that I can't provide. I literally, when I do these videos, I play videos a lot of time. I'll read the articles and I literally can explain every single one of my stances to a T. I don't just make vague statements and say, oh, I don't like this. And then I, keep talking. No, I literally do what a lot of people hate, which is explain themselves. I explain myself. I explain my stance. And this is where my followers come from. Even if some don't like my findings, they appreciate that I can literally explain how I got there. If somebody says, Rico, the answer to this math equation is 6, and that's all you need to know. I'm the type of person that says, okay, What was the formula? Was it 3 plus 3? Was it 3 times 2? Like, I need to know how you got here. So being a thorough person, I literally explain myself. I show you the proof. I present my evidence, and I show you how I use my discernment, and this is how I came up with this decision. I do that throughout life. I do that when it comes to who I'm going to be in relationships with, who I'm going to work with, who I consider my friends. You have to make these calculated decisions before you go forward with something. I'm not just getting on here saying I don't like her for no reason. I think she's cute as shit. I like little dark black chicks. I do. That's my speed. She's short too. I like little short women, but she's full retard. And I don't know who's seen Tropic Thunder, but you never go full retard. Not all the way. I have listened to countless Jasmine Crockett speeches and interviews. I swear I've been waiting to find out what she stood on. I need to know the foundation of her political stances in politics. I need to know her accomplishments. She's not new. I need to know what she's done, what she's offering. The problem is with the non-American blacks who live in America, they don't understand how politics works. They're completely politically ignorant. They think politics is a popularity contest, which is akin to voting for the homecoming king and queen. That's what they all think. Well, I like this politician. The rest of the people in the republic, the rest of the other demographics, we all understand that politics are a negotiation. Me and my people would go to a political group who's running for office, and we'd say, look, we're voting as a block. These are our needs. What are you going to offer us for our support? And every single demographic is offered something, whether it's financial, whether it's some type of, removing certain if there's roadblocks in the way of doing business, any restrictions. There are certain things that people need, or they have a group and they have an ask. You're not supposed to give your support to a politician because of the fucking color of their skin, you goddamn idiots. That's not how it works. They're supposed to offer you something. It's a negotiation. Which you ask them first, then you go to their competitor and you ask them, and you see who's going to offer you the most. I remember famously when Joe Biden was running for president, Trump was offering blacks something called the platinum package, $500 billion for these black companies, where he was going to give the money to a certain group. They distributed against black business owners, which should be illegal in my opinion. You shouldn't be able to give anybody a goddamn thing based on their race, but I digress. He was going to break the rules and do it. They had opportunity zones. He was literally, and there was somebody named Ice Cube who was actually in the forefront. But then you got the gay blacks who pretend to represent black people, but they're really gays. They're sabotaging the blacks, the Roland Martins, the D.L. Hewleys. And they said, no. Yeah, Trump, he's trying to buy your vote, but that's not how it works. What we're going to do is this. We're going to vote for Joe Biden, and we're going to wait until he gets elected. Then we're going to try to negotiate after he already got what he wanted. And that just shows you how, I don't know if it's hereditary or if it's cultural, but as a whole, they're stupid. You want to negotiate with somebody after you've already gave them what they asked for. After you've supported them, after you pay them, you have no chips. You have no fucking leverage. You're supposed to negotiate ahead of time, before. And then they're supposed to compete for your vote by seeing who's going to offer you the most. It's like trying to negotiate the price of the car after you've already bought the car. You can't go back to the dealership after and say, hey, actually, give me $3,000 off or I'll walk. They're going to like, okay, well, you don't got to walk. You can drive. You already bought the fucking car. But I guess I'm a bad person because I'm explaining this to you. I'm completely logically consistent. I'm able to explain it to you clear as day in English, right? I don't have a bunch of filler words. I don't keep saying and I have a decent mic system, clear. You can speak to me. I can speak to you. I can clearly articulate to you exactly what my grievances are with her, why I didn't like her, and you can go back and fact check me. You can actually speak to me directly in the comments. No, I'm not black, but her and her people are. And but the beautiful thing is, due to Epstein's research and the vaccine, their people are shrinking. So not as many as there used to be. Let's take a listen.
So I just want to be clear. There's a lot that took place specifically in Dallas County. I'm sure you've been watching the returns, and none of the returns out of Dallas County are quite in yet. Dallas County should have the second largest voter participation of any county in this state. We don't have any of the results because there was a lot of confusion today. And so, you know, our Democratic Party chair, Cardall Coleman, he beat me to the punch, as myself and Colin all read. We're about to file a lawsuit to keep the voting polls open. We were able to keep the polls open, but I can tell you now that people have been disenfranchised. The reason that we knew that there were problems is because we were receiving the phone calls and the emails. The polls were supposed to stay open until 9, according to a court order. The Supreme Court, just a few minutes ago, just said, shut it down. The Supreme Court also said that they are to separate any votes out that came in after 7 p.m. So here's the deal. I have no idea how it is that clerks are going to know who was in line by what time, because the rule is that if you're in line by 7, then you get to vote.
Blah, blah, blah. Don't be an election denier. Weren't you criticizing Trump on being an election denier? Didn't you say Trump was wrong for questioning the ballots, the procedures, etc., etc.? And where is your hood ghetto girl accent? Where the fuck is it? Because I know you for that, famously for that. Now, in her situation, it's not code switching where, well, when I'm with my friends, I talk one way, but when I'm at work, I have a slightly British accent and I speak proper. That's not her. She's a grift. She's an actress. It's fake. She doesn't have any solid stances on anything. She's not offering anything politically. This was a scam. You were hustled. So when I'm asking her, well, where's your accent? The ghetto girl accent is what attracted the low IQ voters. Apparently, we can just go ahead and come out and say all the blacks are low IQ voters. Why would you say that? Well, she's in Texas. She sounds like a fucking idiot to appeal to the blacks. Gavin Newsom's on the other side of the country in California, but he was in Atlanta the other day. And to appeal to the blacks, he completely disrespected his family, his parents, and his education status by saying, I'm just like you. I'm stupid. How much do you get for getting your name right on your SATs? It's like an 870. Well, I'm a 960 guy. I'm just like you. It's a room full of blacks. I'm just like you. I'm a 960. I'm a 960 S. Do you know what type of idiot you have to be to grow up in a country where education is free, where you have access to the internet, you got access to resources everywhere. If you are growing up in the United States and you're scoring after going through all those years of schooling for free, if you're still scoring under a 960, then you defeated the purpose of even living in the country. You might as well have just not gone to school and grew up in Sri Lanka and just caught fish your whole life and just been a fucking fisherman. If you, with all these privileges and advantages living here in the United States, in our republic, if you are scoring beneath the 960, but you don't have a learning disability, you weren't in some kind of car accident where they had to slice a quarter of your brain off, if you're not missing pieces of your skull, and you're scoring a 940, 960, then you just defeated the entire purpose of growing up in a republic. Wherever your family came from, you should go back there. You're not here for the right reasons. But I digress. He wanted to appeal to the black audience, same as her, by basically putting down his own mental aptitude and saying, hey, I'm the governor of a state. Yes, I can read, but when it comes to you guys, I'm gonna tell you a secret. I really can't read. I couldn't even read a speech, but I'm the governor of the fifth largest economy in the world. Not because of his policies. We're only the fifth largest economy in California because of our geographic location in the country and the ports. Somewhat Hollywood, but not because we have an amazing governor. Actually, the governor's killing our economy. Gavin Newsom, who should have been recalled, but it was the black vote that actually stopped the recall because they'd rather vote for Newsom to send them PPP checks and ERC checks instead of voting for Larry Elder, who was saying, I'm going to reopen the state right away so you can get back to work. To the Jasmine Crockett's demographic in California, getting back to work, that sounds like racism and slavery. So they rejected it. And then we got how many more years of Gavin Newsom? The man that destroyed San Francisco. You know, they have an app where you can document human poop on the streets. There's an entire app for that. That's where Gavin Newsom came from, and they elevated him to governor because he appeals to the low IQ people of his state by offering them, entitlements, welfare, Section 8, and he does have, they do no audits and he asks no questions. They also, but in a way, you also don't complain because he removes all of the safeguards to prevent fraud in the state. When you're electing, they remove them. So you don't need an ID, you don't need a name, you don't need an address. You can just drop off a piece of paper saying, this is who I voted for, and here goes 1,000 more signatures. I found them, take them all, and they will count them all. And now you wonder why that you falsely believe that California is a Democrat, super blue, super majority. It's bullshit. I hate identity politics, and I don't respect and I disrespect people who literally play into the stereotypes to earn the votes of the low IQ. I don't like it. Nobody should like it. It's anti-American and it's very disrespectful to the system as a whole and to our republic. She speaks in that ghetto cadence to appeal to those people, and Gavin Newsom has to literally disrespect his entire gene pool to pretend that he's on the same level and he's just like you. I can't read. But I'm a bad person, right? Because I'm not supposed to notice that. If I speak to you like you are in third grade, would you like me? I don't give a fuck if you like me. I'm a man. No one likes men. No one likes us. People like what you do for them. If I give you money, you'll like me. If I pay some bills. But if I was just a guy being a guy and no one likes us, I'm not used to being liked. I don't make these videos to be liked. I make these videos to be accurate. I make these videos there are people like me who are out there who are looking for someone like myself that can explain things to them from an angle that we can understand. I've been looking for this for so long. I couldn't find it. I would find it in certain people, but then they took the vaccine, they died, and they're no longer on the internet. So now there's all these openings and I'm keep looking for more people. So I said, fuck it, I'm just going to do it myself. So now I'm here and I'm making content. I'm speaking to people because I couldn't find anybody else to watch. I used to watch Tim Pool. Then I found out he was for sale and they could pay him to say all the same shit about Candace Owens that Bon Vagina he was saying and Brandon Tatum was saying. They're all repeating the exact same words. And I'm like, well, obviously this is a coordinated attack. I remember when they said this, when all the news stations were repeating the same lines about the fake virus. And it was like they showed you how it kept increasing. So I stopped watching the news. Then I find out some of my favorite creators were basically people that could be paid and bought to say certain things. Well, now I have to question everything they said. I thought they were giving me their true opinions. You can't be. You're for sale. And I don't know what topics you've been paid to think or say certain things about versus others. So I had to fall back and basically start making my own content. I wouldn't care if there was only one person in the chat and it's just me watching this from a burner account. I will still make these videos and the content because I'm worried about being accurate, and I want to hear stuff that is an honest person's opinion, but not just their opinion. I like when people give me an explanation. I want to hear how you got to that opinion and why. So this is where I am. I don't even know if this is grassroots. I've grown past that. So, I mean, this is where I'm at. Exactly. This is rich, privileged chick isn't acting ghetto now. Not at all. She's very prim and proper. The blacks who voted for her would say, you sound white. I don't understand. If you have an issue with how whites sound, why are you still in my republic? Why don't you go back to your country where all the people look like you and they'll sound like you? Maybe you can learn English is a white language from a country called England in Europe, right? You're speaking English, complaining about white people. Why don't you learn to speak Xhosa or Zulu or Swahili? Why don't you learn to speak Ghana and whatever language they speak in Ghana? Move to Africa, speak an African language. Then I'll believe you when you talk about how much you hate white people. I just can't take you seriously if you're engulfed in white culture, but everything about you is so anti-white, but you're living in a white society. This is the United States. The majority of the people here are white. This is a choice to live here that you make every single day. The airports are not closed to you. That's fascism. You know the country's not fascistic because you can fly out. Real fascism, you're trapped. So you're stuck there. You're not stuck here. You can leave at any time you want and go and repatriate yourself and go somewhere else. It's crazy how fast that fucking ghetto accent magically evaporated. But like I said months ago when I was doing videos about this, now she has to appeal to the same people she's built her career on hating and insulting. White people. Now she's fucked because the people that she's been insulting all this time, unless they have some kind of extreme white guilt or they're gay white, they're not going to support her. They've heard what she said over the last few years. They just can't say nothing about it because they'd be considered bigots and racists for defending themselves. And I believe everybody has a right to defend themselves. But in America, if you're white, you don't have the right to defend yourself. And any attempt to do so would make you a supreme white person or a white supremacist. It just depends on who you ask, but that's how they say it. It's hilarious. And I'm watching her crash and burn spectacularly because she deserves it. She ran on hate. She ran on literally insulting whites and specifically Trump. Her videos of her talking ghetto are so cringe and chalkboard scratch worthy. It's hard for me to play them. And even though I can't stand her, at least because she sounds like a normal American who grew up here, that's why I can tolerate this video. But I can't really tolerate the others. But guess what? If I got to listen to it, you do too. But we're going to play a few more seconds of this one, right? And then we're going to get to the highlights.
And so once there was a court order saying you had until 9, I'm sure that there were people that joined the line after.
You know what? I think Hillary Clinton said she had like a quarter or a half a gallon of hot sauce in her purse. Man, do you remember seeing those fucking chimps jump up and swing from branches? They were so excited about Hillary Clinton's her liquid measurement of the hot sauce that she claimed to be in her purse. The IQ level doesn't get much lower than that. That threshold, which is what impresses people on that level, it's hard to even phantom that would make sense to you. I mean, but for them, it was extremely impressive. There are still blacks that are like, they love Hillary Clinton right now because they were just eating some chicken and they need some hot sauce. And they knew if Hillary was the president, she gonna show up and give them the hot sauce. She got it for them. She's there at a restaurant. They run out of sauce. Boom. Hillary pops up out of nowhere. Here goes a bottle. Louisiana's finest. Because why else would that be so impressive to you? why do you have so much hot sauce in your purse? That is not really a thing. Diabetes is a thing, hypertension, but I'm not black enough. See, my people, our food is not very exciting. It's very bland. Mexican food is more exciting, actually. I like it. And you do put hot sauce on some of that, but I never understood the whole sauce. I like sauce, but why you would say you need to have it in your purse, or if I say I got some hot sauce in my back pocket at all the time, would that make the blacks like me? I'm scared. I'll be honest. That's one of those questions that I'm scared to ask.
You're 7. They now are telling them that you have to separate the votes out. What this means is that we will not know.
Yes, MAGA, America first, America only. If you don't like it, why are you here in America? You don't like MAGA. You don't like making America great. You want to make another country great. What country is that? What country can you think of that's better than the United States? Okay, now how much money do you need to go fucking live there? Why are you still here? Do the airports not work for you? Oh, let me guess. Because you're black, you don't have an ID. You can't figure out where the DMV is. You're just spinning around in circles all day, pouring hot sauce down your throat. So you don't know where the DMV is because you're high off hot sauce. So you're trying to figure it out. Then you get an airplane ticket. But until then, you're stuck here in America because you don't have an ID. So then you can't vote, you can't fly, but you got unlimited access to hot sauce. I don't know. There's good and bad being an American, I guess. I mean, for you. Yeah.
What votes are to be tallied from election day out of Dallas County?
You know what?
For sure, we won't know that.
Man, fuck her. Listen, my sense of humor when it comes to certain topics, I think it's funny. I think it's if I was watching me on a burner account, I would laugh. I think the shit was funny, but everybody else maybe not so much. But that's too damn bad, Grandpa. Too damn bad. Your girl lost too damn bad. But see, Jasmine didn't lose. America won. See, the last time when she was voted into a politics, America lost. Because we're the ones who have to pay the price ultimately. Because she's a distraction and she's a waste of time. We won today. So we celebrate. And what we do is we take short out of work dwarfs and they help us party.
As mayor of the Munster City, in the county of the land of Oz.
And see, look, this guy in the green represents Greg Abbott because we just renominated him for the governor as our Republican nominee. The reason you know Greg Abbott is an amazing governor is because people from all over the country, including myself, we all chose to leave our states and move to Texas back during the lockdown because Greg Abbott fought against the World Economic Forum, the New World Order, all the fake World Economic Forum, all the fake CDC bullshit, Fauci. He rejected Kamala and Biden, and he kept Texas open. Instead of destroying the entire Texas economy the way we did in California, New York, and all these other places, he kept Texas open, telling Texans that they should be afraid of the air, but we have guns. It doesn't make sense. If the air, it tries to kill me, I can shoot it. That's the American logic that I like. And Texas didn't falter or fall. It's actually doing best, one of the best states out of all of the states in the country. Because they stayed open under the leadership of Governor Greg Abbott. Is he perfect? No. I don't like all the Jew bullshit. I don't like the anti-Semitic speech laws. You, nor DeSantis, nor any other fucking American, no one, God himself is not going to come down and curtail my First Amendment right to free speech. I can say fuck you to any and everybody. I don't have to like anybody. Anybody. You can't tell me I can talk about certain people, but I can't talk about others. Because if I'm on a college campus, blah, blah, blah. That's the only issue I have with Abbott. Get over all that Jew shit because they're getting their asses handed to them right now in Tel Aviv, from Iran, and it wasn't worth it. All the virtue signaling in the world, I know you're getting campaign money. Everybody's getting money from them besides me, obviously. Tim Pool's getting that money. Tatum is getting that money. Who else is getting that money? There's a lot of people getting that money from Israel. I'm not, okay? Because I can live off a dollar menu. Literally, it's 8:30 in the morning. In an hour, I'm going to go to In-N-Out. I'm going to get an amazing double-double animal style, no cheese, and I'm going to get my fries animal style also. It's going to cost me a whopping $12.25. With $12.25 per meal, I eat twice a day. I don't need those $50, $100, $300,000 checks from Israel to push their bullshit on the internet to my fans. I don't need their extra money. I'm okay with $12.25 a meal. That's what makes me a good creator or a person to follow, because I'm not swayed by a bunch of money. Even if they said, Rico, we're going to give you $100 million to promote Israel. How many more 12.25 double doubles do I need that I need to take $100 million to lie to you about how I agree with their bullshit and agree with genocide and murder? I mean, to see what was happening to see what they did in Gaza, now someone else is doing to them in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem and these other places. It's amazing to me. That doesn't mean I'm hateful, but when I watch those videos, I put heart eyes underneath it because I love reciprocity and I hate bullies. I just don't. So I don't need your big money. I don't need the Tim Pool. I don't need the Brandon Tatum. I don't need that extra, those funds that they're paying people. I'm not going to sell out and do it because I only need $12.25 for my double-double. I don't know what they're eating. They got it. Maybe their meals are $1,000 a meal. I don't need it. I get it wrapped in lettuce because the bread is toxic. So I'm doing pretty good with $12.25. So that's what makes me a little bit more genuine. So that's my issue with Greg Abbott. By the way, I know we drifted off. Besides that, Abbott is an amazing governor. I would vote for him to be president. If it wasn't for those issues with the Jew stuff, I would vote for DeSantis to be president. I think he's great because he fought the gays. He fought Disney. He literally restored election integrity to Florida. I seen it. And I'm Cuban. There's a bunch of us down there. I don't want to personally live around a bunch of other Cubans. But if I wasn't in Texas, I'd be in Florida. And I might actually have to live there for work in a few months anyway. I got some other stuff that I'm doing. So I might have to go down there. But I'm not going to be in Little Havana. Okay, the food's boring. I want to go somewhere with some little spice. But yeah, so the guy in the green is DeSantis. Dorothy represents the other Democrat who just beat Jasmine Crockett. And the wicked witch is obviously Crockett. And we're celebrating her political career is dead. Ding dong, the political career is dead. And the dwarfs, yada, yada, yada.
I welcome you most freely.
You know what? I think people keep asking me, when was America great? Maybe it was great during these years because I don't see a bunch of DEI dwarfs. I don't. I would not want to see a bunch of DEI diverse dwarfs, and I don't want to see that. I like the white dwarfs. That's a close representation of the country. I don't want to see a dwarf cooking tacos and tamales, and you're trying to convince me that makes up a majority. I don't want to see it. I like my movies like this. I like it. So yeah, other than that, that's where Abbott messed up. But other than that, Abbott is an amazing governor. And hopefully we keep him indefinitely. I know there are some states in the Republic where there's no term limit on governors. I'm not sure if Texas is one of those states. I wish it was, so that we can keep DeSantis and we can stay America longer. Because yeah, when people are voting Democrat in other states, they're voting communists. They're voting Marxist. And they're also voting to allow other nations to be able to come in and take our sovereignty. The Democrats want to bring in the Chinese. They want to bring in people from other parts of the world to control us. They will sell us out. If we went to war with another country, it would be the Democrats that would literally rally behind the enemy tanks, and they would try to help them find any whites or conservatives to go arrest or go to try to fight and kill. They would literally join the invading forces and work against us. They are not Americans. They hate everything the country stands for. And it's crazy when you ask them, why do you hate America? Like, what are your problems as a Democrat? For blacks, they want immunity for crime. So they want to be able to kill without getting arrested, because arresting killers that are black is racist. They want to be able to steal. If you go into a store and that's why Gavin Newsom was like, hey, you can steal up to $1,000 and you won't be arrested. They loved Newsom for that. Didn't you wonder how is it you can steal and there's a threshold where it's not a crime? You never thought that was awkward or weird? But who were the people that were taking advantage of that the most, who thought it was the best thing since sliced bread? It was the black community, the same community that he's telling he can't read. Why are you not noticing the pattern? I mean, I don't mind pointing it out for you and painting the picture, but why didn't you pick this up? Like, that was like 2 years ago. Like, we're Americans, but our memory cannot be that, like, we should be able to remember. That's not that long ago. That's the agreement. Again, it's politics. So Newsom was saying, look, for your vote, how about this? You can commit crimes without getting arrested up to $1,000. For the gay community, I'm going to pass new laws where if you're caught sodomizing an underage kid, you don't have to register on the sex offenders list. And people are like, that's not true, Rico. I'm like, really? Then explain this to me. Who can explain this right here? If what I'm saying just now is wrong, if this wasn't a part of Newsom's negotiations with the gay community so that they'll support him and he'll get their votes, because he's really just riding off of the black votes because he allows them to steal, and the gay votes because of this bill right here. And then obviously the illegals, he'll protect you, sanctuary state. That's all he has. If somebody else can explain to me that I'm wrong and that this is not, this is the law of the land. You guys were all talking about Epstein 2 weeks ago, but now that you find out that there's nothing bad about Trump and the Epstein files, you don't care about it no more, but you did care for a little while. But if you cared so much about children being abused in the Epstein files, why did you not care about Newsom changing the law of the land in California to protect pedophiles? Like, when I say things like all Californians are Epsteins until they speak out and get this overturned and abolished, all Californians are Epsteins. You're all Epsteins and Epstein supporters and protectors until you can get this overturned. Can somebody fucking explain this to me? And then I'll ease up off of Crockett and Newsom and the Democrats. See, my problem is with the left as a whole, not necessarily with the blacks or the gays, but what they're trying to push. I don't care that you're black, be black. I don't care that you're gay, be gay. My issue is when you try to pervert and go after children and indoctrinate them into your bullshit. That's my issue. Inner city schools are equal to suburban schools. Teachers are teachers. Inner city schools have the same teachers that also are subs and go work in schools in other districts. That's not an excuse. The kids in the inner city don't care to learn. Kids in other parts of the state do want to learn. It's a cultural thing. It's not geography. Think about it. If you're a low IQ person from a low IQ family, your kids don't care to learn. They want to go to jail. They want to go shoot. They want to go kill. They want to go commit crime. They don't want to go to school. Why do you think they're protesting against ICE? They're literally abandoning school. They want to be expelled so they can just stay out on the streets. That's just their excuse. They don't want to go to school. I went to school. I cared to learn about certain things. Most of the kids around me they didn't care to learn anything. They didn't want to do anything. Just like you can't stop the cream from rising when you're boiling something, you also can't force cream to rise that's not there. It's nothing to do with the teachers or you're being in there. That's an excuse. Inner city schools have funding. They have teachers. It's the kids. If you're coming from a family that doesn't promote you learning, then you're not going to care to learn. That's just how it goes. Now, it doesn't come down to race, but there is a lot of culture war BS, and she was an extremely bad candidate. Well, she was a piss poor candidate because she offered nothing. To this day, nobody can tell you anything that she offered at all. Nothing. The guy she's running against, he had a platform, he had plans. She offered basically just the stripper credentials. I'm cute, I'm short, I'm black. Give me votes. I got big eyelashes and big hair. Vote for me. Okay, and I'm a hood as fuck, but yet I'm not hood. Okay, great. Vote for the stripper requirements. Like I said, she has a bright future on a poll. And guess who's going to be there with ones? I will support that career. I got a couple dollars, one or two. I got her. Okay. I'll even order me a Hennessy. Matter of fact, me and Shannon Sharp might show up with some Newports and we will throw some. We're going to throw some money at Jasmine. Man, this is good news. I'm so tired of hearing her bullshit and her TDS and then people actually trying to pretend her TDS makes sense. It is over. It doesn't get much better than this. Do me a favor, like and subscribe to the channel, share the video. Let me know if you agree or disagree. I'm going to read all the comments. I have 8 other topics to do today, so that's why I'm ending this live. I'll be back on live in about 20 minutes with another subject because I have a flight to catch later. So a lot of this is going to post tomorrow because I don't know if I'm taking my computer with me or not. I don't know if I'm going to be in and out or if I'm going to be right back. But subscribe to the channel, Rico Limbaugh on YouTube. I know we're on 8 different platforms. Try to come over to YouTube. That way I can build up the analytics. And again, like the page. It pushes me into the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you guys all being here. Remember, it's America first and America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.